Bienvenido de regreso a tu show de la mañana, solo aquí en tu Fiesta Radio, celebrando nuestra música con Elio Piedra y mi invitado especial, muy honrados y privilegiados de tenerlo aquí en casa, al comisionado más joven en la historia de Gainesville, Florida, the youngest commissioner ever, David Arreola. Bienvenido de vuelta, David. Muchas gracias. Hemos estado conversando hasta ahora un poco acerca de la vida de David, de sus padres, cómo emigraron, entre otras cosas. Hemos estado incluso hablando de utilities, de taxes, de cosas que the commission, they have access to it, y alguna información. Acabamos de comenzar en el momento donde usted nos puede enviar sus preguntas por privado o puede llamar al 352-405-5905 y aquí en vivo también David le va a contestar sus preguntas. David, before we get into the date and time, the campaign, how we can support you and all of that, we still have some questions for you as a commissioner. Aquí nos acaban de llegar algunas preguntas para David como comisionado. Y una de las preguntas que nos llega es, does the university pay their fair share of taxes?
The university is completely run by the state of Florida, and so all of their expenditures are all tax dollars from Florida. So they don't have to pay local taxes, and that's one of the bigger problems in Gainesville because they own so much land that they don't pay taxes on. However, I will give them credit. They do partner with us for a lot of different programs. So they have helped pay for additional capacity for the firefighters. They, like I said, they're the number one customer for GRU because they do own so much land. But the other thing that they help us do is they help to sponsor different projects throughout the community. Yesterday we had a meeting where the College of Arts and Medicine wants to help us build a cultural arts center and wants to get us tied into national discussions on how teaching kids how to play instruments and get involved in art and get involved with music is really going to help them on later in life. So there's a lot that the university does. Obviously, without the University of Florida, there wouldn't be the Gainesville you know and love today. Would I like them to be able to pay local taxes? You bet. But that's not something I have control over.
Sí, o sea que a David como comisionado le gustaría arreglar eso de que ellos sí realmente pudieran pagar taxes, pero no es algo que él puede controlar. Sin embargo, estaba explicando que ellos ayudan y auspician diferentes proyectos, diferentes iniciativas que se toman dentro de la comunidad. Ahora, tengo otra pregunta de la misma persona que, people, they really want to know you. They really want to get to know you a little deeper. And people are asking, are you a Democrat or Republican?
I am a registered Democrat, but this is a nonpartisan office. And what that means is that when I'm on the ballot, you don't see Democrat or Republican next to any of the names. It's just David Arreola.
¿Hiciste eso intencionalmente? Was that intentional? Because why?
It's very intentional because the political parties hold their own elections, the primaries. So whenever you are voting for, let's just say, president, you get to pick out of all the Democrats or out of all the Republicans. Okay. But only Democrats and only Republicans can vote in those elections. So a nonpartisan election means everyone can vote. You don't have to be registered with a party. And as a candidate, I'm not supposed to campaign on a party line. I'm supposed to campaign on my own issues, on my own merits. And so I don't campaign saying vote for me because I'm a Democrat. I campaign saying vote for me because I'm going to address all of the issues that the other candidates won't.
Me encanta eso. Okay, so you know now, you don't need to be, no necesitas ser del Partido Demócrata o el Partido Republicano o Liberal. Puedes votar por David, no importa de qué partido seas, porque realmente la intención es ayudar a la comunidad y realmente arreglar los problemas que dentro de sus posibilidades van a estar. Okay. Vamos a llegar ahora a los problemas. We're going to get to the problems that you are going to focus on, your strategy, your mission, and your vision. Porque realmente, once you are a mayor, you have a little more power. I understand that, right? Is that right?
The mayor in Gainesville gets the power to run the city commission meetings. And within that is a lot of power because you get the opportunity to shape the conversations. Now, everyone has their opportunity to speak, and it's the mayor's job to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak. But we don't have the same power as maybe a mayor in New York City who has the power to hire and fire everyone. I don't have that power. The only power that I have is to run those city commission meetings. But I think, number one, I love doing that. People think government meetings are boring. I think they're great. I like running them. So what I would do is I would really focus on pushing our conversations. Instead of just talking about issues, let's take action.
Exactly, because that's what right now that was going through my mind. Because what about, I understand that running the meetings, but what about making it happen? Mm-hmm. Whatever we bring up, lo que sea que hablamos, cómo podemos hacer que eso suceda, cómo podemos realmente resolver esos problemas. Pero once again, we're going to get there. So what is the date of the election? What is the election date? And how can we support you? ¿Cómo te podemos apoyar? ¿Cómo podemos conocer más acerca del día de las elecciones?
The election day is August 23rd. So it's coming up in about 8 months, about 218 days, something like that.
Wow.
Not counting. But here's how you can support me. Right now, the campaign is getting started. We are asking for volunteers, asking for people to open up their homes and invite us. Of course, we will take all safety precautions that are necessary, and we are asking for people to follow the campaign. So our website is davidarreola.com. You can go there and sign up for updates. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can just look up my name, David Arreola. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and we're on Twitter. So that's the best way that you can follow and keep up with the campaign, but make sure you go to the website and put in your information so that you can get our email updates for opportunities. We're going to be holding a kickoff later in either February or March. There's another special election going on right now, so I'm trying to be respectful of that space before we really start to take over. But those are the main ways right now to get involved. We're also having conversations with people at various different events. So we're constantly posting about what community events are out there. This Monday, I'll be marching with the Martin Luther King Remembrance March. There's going to be just so many opportunities to get involved.
That is awesome. Ok, mi gente, ya usted sabe, agosto 23 es día de elección. David estaba comentando que ahora mismo hay otro tipo de elección pasando y él está siendo bien respetuoso con eso, pero una vez pase eso vamos a tener un opening, un evento especial en febrero, otro en marzo, y todo lo que podamos hacer aquí para apoyar a David, bueno, pues lo vamos a hacer. Yo hice un poll en las redes sociales intencionalmente porque venías y todo, estamos súper excited, le damos las gracias a toda nuestra audiencia local que está sintonizándonos, y de todas las cosas que yo puse, ¿qué es lo que usted quisiera saber acerca si David gana las elecciones para alcalde, for mayor? ¿Cuáles son las cosas? Estas fueron los puntos que yo puse. Decisiones que tomará en sus primeros 6 meses, misión, reformas, representación de nuestra cultura, cómo hará una diferencia, entre otros. Y la primera que puse, ¿cuáles son las decisiones que tomarás en los primeros 6 meses durante tu alcaldía? Es lo que a las personas más les interesa. Vamos a hablar un poquito de eso. Una vez ganes, ya ganaste, ¿cuáles son esas cosas? ¿Cuáles son esas acciones? How are you going to take action in the first 6 months?
The first thing that I'm going to focus on is building more affordable housing in Gainesville.
O sea, construir casas, que el costo de las casas, construir más casas, más viviendas en Gainesville.
There are so many people moving to Gainesville right now, and it's really driving the cost of buying a house and renting a house, and we need to address that immediately. And honestly, I'm not going to wait till I'm elected to focus on that issue. I'm focusing on that issue right now. But as soon as I get into office, I'm going to have the ability to make that the number one conversation as the mayor. Second, what I'm going to address is I'm going to address sustainability. We talked a little bit about renewable energy, but I want people to understand that it's more than just solar energy. We're talking about trying to eliminate as much waste in this city. We're talking about ways to guarantee residential weatherization, to have living wages for all our government contractors, and really to focus on conservation because the reality is, folks, that our planet is changing and it's getting hotter every year. It's hotter than the next. That's going to continue. We need to prepare for that. And what that means is really teaching ourselves how to live within our means.
Y disculpa, antes que continúe, before you continue, David, really quick, alguien me acaba de enviar un mensaje que casi que se tiene que ir y nos está escuchando. ¿Qué va a pasar con las oportunidades para negocios latinos, small Latin businesses? What's going to happen with that?
I'm going to work directly with the Latin Business Council with the Chamber of Commerce. They've been formed.
The Chamber of Commerce is the best.
That's
for sure.
And I think that's where we need better relationships too. And I've worked with the Chamber of Commerce on a couple of issues, but I want to work directly with the Latin Committee for the Hispanic community because I think that right now you're seeing more Hispanic business owners. I think that you're seeing more families from all around the world, different Hispanic countries moving here, and I want them to feel a place. And so my proposal is you see this in larger cities, and I think it's time to bring something to Gainesville, where you have an international center where people who have moved here or people who have connections to other countries can meet. There will be space where they can hold offices, where they can hold meetings, inviting people from other countries to come and meet. They can be tied in with the talent at the university. I mentioned how it's important that people are getting the right job training for the jobs that are available here. And also, we can have in there in office. Right now, we've got an initiative in Gainesville called the Gainesville Inclusive Immigrant Neighbors Initiative, where we are working to create Spanish language guides for how to get around Gainesville, how to use the bus system, for example, in Spanish, how to access the various different services that maybe they only offer service in English, and how can we support that? So I want to help build an international center here in Gainesville that's going to support the community and the businesses.
O sea, para las personas que no hablan inglés, que probablemente aún están sintonizados, Dave estaba explicando que quiere, una de sus misiones es abrir un centro internacional donde podamos apoyar a esos pequeños negocios latinos. Ahora, tengo otra pregunta, David, y sé que tienes otros puntos ahí. I know you have more points there, yeah. But there is a person here that says, what do you think about no having ID to vote? No tener ID para votar.
Well, that's an issue that we don't really deal with. That's the supervisor of election. You are supposed to show a form of identification. Yeah. You're supposed to show a picture ID every time you go and vote. And I think voting is one of the most important things we have to protect. We have to protect the dignity of voting. So the only thing that I think we've gotten a little bit off of course here in this country is, people are really attacking people's right to vote. And so we do require an ID every time you go and vote. I have actually sat on the canvassing boards, which are public meetings where you have the people who count the votes, which I'm not allowed to go over and touch their machines. I'm supposed to stay on the other side.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And so, it's not an issue that the city commission deals with, but I absolutely support having appropriate ID for voting, and I just want to make sure that people don't get the wrong impression. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think that people are voting without IDs, but I do think that it is important for us to protect the security of our elections.
Sí, eso es lo más importante. Vamos a continuar con los puntos que tenías ahí, y una vez escuchemos los puntos que tenemos, que estamos escuchando del comisionado David Arreola, vamos a continuar con una bachata bien sabrosa de Prince Royce que se llama De Lado a Lado. Pero David, por favor, puedes continuar con las medidas que vas a tomar en los primeros 6 meses. ¿Cómo vas a tomar acción? How are you gonna take action in the first 6 months once you are the mayor?
Yeah. The next thing I'm going to do is really invest in our youth and invest in our children. I want to put money aside to create hiring programs in the summertime for kids who are out of school, teenagers who are old enough to be working, but they don't really know where to begin, and they don't really know what they want to do. We can set up a hiring program so that they can shadow careers and begin to learn, for example, if they want to become an engineer, they can shadow engineers at GRU. We can even connect them with businesses. So if businesses need young people and their energy to help work, we can get them connected, and we can fund this. And this is something that I really want to do. I want to start it this summer and then have it be something that we continue every year.
O sea, esto va a comenzar este verano. O sea, estás tratando de que comience este verano
Sí.
un programa donde básicamente es para la juventud, los muchachos, los adolescentes, incluyendo los adolescentes, teenagers as well. So, básicamente, si usted quiere ser un ingeniero, si usted quiere ser un piloto, si usted quiere ser un businessman, usted va a tener la oportunidad de rodearse de esas personas, lo cual me parece fabuloso porque realmente, en Cuba decimos, dime con quién anda y te diré quién eres. Like, you become who you are listening and you hang out with, por ejemplo. So I think that's great. That's an awesome idea. Es una iniciativa fantástica. Ahora, mi gente, vamos a tomar un pequeño break. Y ya regresamos a tu show de la mañana, solo aquí en Tu Fiesta Radio, celebrando nuestra música. Hoy es un día de verdad súper emocionante para nosotros porque tenemos aquí por primera vez a David Arreola, el comisionado más joven en la historia de Gainesville y la historia de la comisión, de la oficina de commission. Estamos sumamente emocionados, pero también decirle que hemos estado hablando acerca de la vida de David, cómo llegó a ser commission, por qué, cómo sus padres llegaron a Gainesville. Hemos estado hablando de utilities, de cómo él planea hacer una diferencia. Hemos estado conversando también acerca de su misión, de que la comunidad quiere saber lo que él va a hacer en los próximos 6 meses. Así que, David, bienvenido de vuelta.
Gracias, Elio.
Are you having a good time? ¿La estás pasando bien?
I'm loving it. I've really enjoyed talking with you and hearing all the questions. This is why I do what I do. It's just an honor to be here.
Awesome. Me encanta que la estés pasando bien. Muchas personas quieren saber también acerca de public health. Yo sé que prometí to go back to the GRU problem. Prometí regresar acerca de lo del GRU, de utilities, pero el tiempo corre y me interesa mucho también saber qué va a pasar con the public health. Are you gonna make something different? It's gonna be the same? What is gonna change? What are the initiatives? ¿Cuáles son las iniciativas próximas con the public health? Algo con el transporte. ¿Qué va a pasar con las calles, las avenidas? Vemos que Gainesville, por ejemplo, hablando de public health, Gainesville keeps growing. La ciudad continúa creciendo. Y a veces ni las propias avenidas dan abasto. Y eso tiene un poco también que ver, como me estabas comentando, con the handicap folks that they need, certain things. Vamos a hablar un poquito acerca de estos tópicos.
Yeah. So when we say public health, I want everyone to forget what you're thinking and look at it this way. When we talk about public health, we're not just talking about having a place to go if you're sick. We're talking about, do you have a safe commute to where you're going? Are the roads around you safe? Is there a park within 10 minutes walking distance so that you're not just trapped in streets? Do we have enough ways to get around besides riding in a car? Do we have safe bike lanes? Do we have safe sidewalks? These are the kinds of things I want people to think about. Now, we are going to invest in traditional public health thought. So we are going to continue to invest in more care centers. We're going to sponsor an Eastside Care Center that's going to be opened with the College of Medicine at UF. We're also going to help North Florida expand over by I-75. They're going to build a new center. So those are a couple of things that we're looking at. But the other thing we're doing is we're sponsoring what's called the Community Resource Paramedicine. And that's a lot of words, but really what it means is we see how many times people call 911. We see this. We see who's calling. There are people who use 911 like it's a doctor's visit. And so what we do is we empower our paramedics to go and talk to these people and figure out, why do you need to call the ambulance 40 times a year? Most people don't use an ambulance one time a year. So why does these people need it so many times? And what we find out is that it's not just a health problem that they're having. It's a social problem. So for one gentleman, he was he recently had moved into a new house, and the ramp for his wheelchair wasn't the right size, so he would fall trying to leave his house. And that's not a problem that ambulances need to address. That's a problem that someone needs to help that man figure out how to get the right ramp size. So we empowered people to do that. For another person, it was that they had never had a primary doctor. They had never been to the doctor before. They didn't know how to take care of themselves. And these are very sensitive conversations because people don't want to feel like they don't know how to take care of themselves and things like that. But you have to listen to the experts. And these paramedics, they are helping people. And so we've reduced hospital visits, and we've been able to increase people's visits to the primary doctors.
Wow, that is awesome. Now that you're talking about all these needs, me encantaría hablar también de cómo si piensan tomar alguna iniciativa con los homeless. Y realmente yo sé que hay mucho problema con el mental health, la salud mental, los homeless, personas con casa, aunque ya mencionamos el housing cost y todo eso, pero no tocamos el tema de los homeless. Y mi pregunta es, la ciudad sigue creciendo, siguen creciendo los negocios, vemos más buildings, más dorms, la universidad, todo sigue expandiéndose, pero ahora sigue expandiéndose también, sigue creciendo de homelessness. Uh-huh. Las personas que no tienen casa. No me gusta llamarle vagabundo, honestamente, personalmente, porque yo pienso que muchas veces tienen problemas de salud mental. O sea, are you guys going to address this issue? I mean,
yeah, we have a plan that we have already put into place. We created, the city of Gainesville created the Grace Marketplace where a lot of the homeless services
un lugar fantástico que conozco a John and all the coordinators. They are awesome, John.
And so our plan now is to be able to fund the folks over at Grace Marketplace so that they can actually make contact with people who are still living on the street. Because what you have to do is you have to know how to engage with someone who maybe hasn't had a place to live for years. And how do you get them to trust you and believe that you're really going to help make their lives better? So here's the philosophy for dealing with homelessness. Everyone is ready to move into a home. You just have to help them climb the steps, step by step, to get there. For some people, they need help with their mental health. We can help them access mental health professionals. For some people, they have problem accessing benefits because they don't have a bank account, but they do have access to veterans benefits or disability checks. And the other issue is just helping people get ready for job interviews. But I think what we really need to focus on is getting people into a house first. We can have places, we can have new homes, not new homes, but new housing where people are moved into and they're checked up on every week. They're checked up on to make sure that they're doing okay. Because I believe firmly, most people want to work for a living. Most people want to be a contributing member of their community. But this is such a tough world, and people fall on hard times. And we have to get away from this mentality that someone is homeless because it's completely their fault. We have to move into a new mentality where everyone is ready for a home, and everyone needs to pitch in to help our community, because it's something that affects all of us.
Sí, yo creo que es un tema que no hablamos muy a menudo. Ese tema de los homeless, de las personas que viven que vemos en las esquinas. We see in the corner every day, literally, like every single day. Vemos en cada esquina al menos una persona that keeps coming back. Continúa regresando a esa esquina. Y estoy de acuerdo contigo que es un problema de mentalidad también. Pero ahora, hablando acerca de working, this is a problem that we need to talk about, porque ahora mismo, David, había muchas personas. Yo podía ver los signs all over the place, like, hey, we're hiring. Mi APA estaba pagando casi $40 la hora. Y yo me sentía como, oye, no jodas, si te están regalando prácticamente las horas. ¿Quién no pagaría eso? Y no aparecía nadie para trabajar. Entonces, o sea, yo entiendo que si la ciudad toma nuevas iniciativas, todo puede mejorar. Pero lo que no entiendo es por qué las personas no quieren trabajar, no quieren regresar. O sea, es una contradicción bastante interesante, No sé si te has preguntado eso, ¿no? Why people are still having like staffing problems. I mean, the pandemic is not gone, but we are. I will say we're halfway. We're getting there. Is todas estas variantes, they are getting weaker, and we are getting back to normal slowly but surely. Porque why people didn't want to go back to work? ¿Sabes? No sé si han tenido esa conversación dentro de los commissioner meetings.
Yeah, there's really two main issues. The first thing you mentioned, all of the signs of places that are hiring. One of the biggest things we have to do is connect people with the right job. And I think that the reason you see so many people, so many places hiring and looking is because folks are deciding that those aren't the jobs they want right now. And if it's an issue of salary, I think some places are doing better than others. But at the end of the day, we have to connect people with a job that they want to do. And so that's another reason why I want to start those conversations with the business community, because I do believe there's a job out there for everyone. Not every job is for everyone. But I do believe there's a job out there for everybody.
I agree with you 100%. And we're having some questions here. Nos están escribiendo aquí otras preguntas. Recuerden, nos puede escribir a través de nuestras redes, Tu Fiesta Radio en Facebook, en Instagram, nuestro portal digital tufiestaradio.com, o nos puede llamar a 352-405-5905. Estamos aquí con el futuro mayor, future mayor. We are manifesting that today.
Sí,
de Gainesville, Florida, David Arreola. Y aquí una persona dice, ¿qué piensas, David, de el derecho para los inmigrantes que aún no son legales, pero están en el tránsito? O sea, inmigrantes que quieren votar, pero y quieren tener una voz, pero realmente aún no tienen los papeles. ¿Qué piensas? Illegal immigrants, the right to vote for them. What do you think about that?
Well, our country is very clear. You have to be a citizen to vote in the United States. And what I want people to be able to immigrate to this country and become citizens. I want there to be a way for everyone to become a citizen who has moved into this country so that they can have the right to vote. And that's very important to me. When my parents moved to this country, they were not citizens. They came to this country with work visas, and they worked, and they went to school, and they didn't become citizens until I was a kid, and so, I was lucky to be born in this country. So I have my citizenship. But I think that it is very important that we offer every immigrant the opportunity to become a citizen, because it is one of the most beautiful things in this country is the right to vote.